I'm not doing this. Not today or any day, especially with you. My ex humiliated me when I tried to propose. I left her, but she couldn't handle rejection. A year later, she showed up in a sheen wedding dress, screaming for another chance. Hey, Reddit, buckle up for this one because it starts with a wedding proposal that went completely sideways and ends in a way I still can't believe actually happened. Let's just say my ex didn't take the breakup well. And when I say not well, I mean she showed up later wearing something you'd only see at a clearance aisle wedding. Yeah, it gets that wild. Sean, 30 male, had been with Eleanor for 2.5 years, long enough to think I had her figured out. She wasn't perfect, no one is, but I honestly believed we were heading somewhere serious. We lived together, split bills, had our little routines. She'd even shown me wedding dresses on her phone before, half joking, saying stuff like, one day, maybe. I took that as a green light. Turns out, I'm terrible at reading traffic signals. The wedding was for our mutual friend, Kevin. The guy had been with his fiancée since college, and I was genuinely happy for them. The plan was simple. Celebrate the wedding, then surprise Eleanor with a proposal at the reception. I'd already bought the ring, a clean, classic diamond that took me 6 months to pay off. It was sitting in my jacket pocket that day, heavy like a loaded secret. Before the ceremony started, I found Kevin behind the venue near the catering trucks, trying to get a breather. I walked over and said, "Hey man, quick thing. I was thinking of proposing tonight, at the reception. You cool with that?" Kevin blinked like I'd just said I was about to stage dive off the altar. Yeah, man, that's fine with me. Just, are you sure Eleanor's ready? I mean, she's kind of what? I raised a brow. He scratched the back of his neck. You know, she likes things her way. You ever talk to her about marriage? I laughed it off. We've been together over 2 years, Kev. She's basically been planning imaginary weddings in her Pinterest board since month 6. She's ready. He nodded, still unsure, but he gave me a friendly pat on the back. All right, man. Go for it. Just don't do it during the vows or anything. Fast forward a few hours, and the wedding was perfect. Eleanor looked incredible. I caught myself thinking, that's the woman I'm going to marry tonight. Everything went smooth until the bouquet toss. I didn't plan on paying much attention, but Eleanor was acting like she was in the finals of the Olympics. She pushed herself right to the front, all focused and determined. When the bride tossed it, Eleanor jumped. Literally jumped, caught it midair, and held it up like she'd just scored the winning goal cheering. Everyone laughed and cheered. And me? I was standing there like an idiot, thinking the universe just gave me a sign. I mean, come on. She fought to catch the bouquet. That had to mean something, right? Kevin saw me from across the dance floor and gave me a small nod, like, now's your moment. So I took a deep breath, pulled the ring box from my pocket, and started walking toward Eleanor. People noticed. The crowd started whispering. Eleanor turned around, smiling, holding the bouquet like a trophy. I could feel my pulse in my ears. Hey, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She grinned, a little flushed from excitement. Hey yourself. Guess who caught it? Yeah, I saw. I smiled back, dropped my hand into my pocket, feeling the box. I was seconds away from getting down on one knee when she tilted her head, gave me that mischievous smirk, and said, "Don't even think about it. I'm not ready yet." At first, I thought she was joking. I froze, waiting for her to laugh and say she was kidding. But, nope. She laughed like I'd actually tried to propose. Like it was funny that I might think she'd want that. Seriously, she added, waving the bouquet a little. I'm not doing this. The laughter around us stopped. The music even seemed to fade out for a second. All I could hear was this ringing in my ears. Kevin's new wife looked uncomfortable. A few people turned away, whispering. Kevin was watching from the side with that oh crap expression, face palming. And me? I just smiled. I had to. What else could I do? I wasn't about to cause a scene in the middle of someone's wedding. I slipped my hand out of my pocket, gave a small chuckle, and said, "Wouldn't dream of it." Then I walked off to grab a drink I didn't even want. My stomach felt like I'd swallowed concrete. Kevin caught me later near the bar and gave me a subtle look, like he wanted to ask but didn't. I just shrugged and said, "Guess I read the room wrong." He sighed. "You okay, man?" "Yeah," I said, lying through my teeth. Better than ever. When we got home, Eleanor kicked off her heels, tossed her purse on the couch, and headed straight for the bathroom. "I'm so tired," she called out, already half undressed. "Can you grab me some water?" I grabbed her a bottle from the fridge and placed it by her side of the bed without saying a word. She mumbled a thanks, rolled over, and within minutes she was asleep, snoring softly. I stood there for a few seconds just looking at her. The same woman who said she wasn't ready yet, like I'd asked her to move mountains. That was the moment I decided she didn't deserve another word from me. I opened the closet and pulled out a duffel bag. Packed enough clothes for a week, my laptop, chargers, and essentials. Every sound felt amplified. The zipper, the drawers, even my own breathing. I moved slow, careful not to wake her. Then I pulled the ring box from my jacket, the same box that had been burning a hole in my pocket all day. I opened it, stared at the diamond ring for a second, then took it out and slipped it into my wallet. I didn't know what to do with it yet, but I knew that she didn't deserve it. The box itself looked empty, pathetic, kind of like the relationship at that point. I placed it neatly on the kitchen counter. I printed a 30-day notice to vacate, per the temporary stay terms she signed when she moved in. If she refused, I knew I'd have to take it to court, but I doubted she'd stick around that long. She'd moved in after me under a short written, temporary stay agreement, something she insisted on because she didn't like legal ties. I still had her signature on the form tucked away in my files. Guess that worked out for me. I folded the paper, set it right next to the empty box, and grabbed a sticky note. In my handwriting, I wrote, "Neither am I anymore." That was it. No long paragraphs, no guilt trip lines, no goodbye speech, just facts. Before leaving, I did one last walkthrough of the apartment. Every corner had some piece of our life in it. Photos from trips, her shoes by the door, the mug she always left half full. I didn't feel sad. I just felt clarity. By 1 a.m., I was in my car. 10 minutes later, I pulled into my buddy Jake's place. He's one of those friends who doesn't ask questions first. He opens the door, sees the duffel bag, and says, "You need the couch?" "Yeah," I said, stepping in. "Just for a while." He nodded. "Rough night?" I let out a short laugh. "Something like that." When I dropped the bag by the couch, he finally asked, "What happened?" I leaned against the wall and shrugged. I finally saw things for what they are. I crashed on that couch, and I swear, it was the best sleep I'd had in years. No midnight arguments, no guilt trips, no emotional gymnastics, just silence. The next morning, sunlight hit me straight in the face, and for a moment, I forgot where I was. Then I remembered the eviction notice, the ring box, the sticky note, and I smiled. Not out of spite, just relief. I checked my phone. 10 missed calls, 5 voicemails, a few texts, all from Eleanor. I didn't open a single one. Not yet, anyway. I left the phone face down on the coffee table. After breakfast with Jake, curiosity got the better of me, and I finally listened to the voicemails. I didn't even have to listen to the rest to know how they'd end. She'd woken up, found vacant notice, saw the box, and realized she wasn't the one in control anymore. Good. I leaned back on Jake's couch, sipping coffee, and said out loud, mostly to myself, "Guess she's finally ready now." Jake raised an eyebrow. "Ready for what?" "To figure out what being single actually means." He snorted. "You're cold, man." "Not cold," I said with a smirk. "Just done babysitting delusions." That day, I didn't text, didn't explain, didn't justify. For the first time in a long time, I didn't owe anyone an apology. And as strange as it sounds, that silence, the kind where no one's expecting you to fix their feelings, felt like the best sound in the world. Turns out, endings don't always need closure. Sometimes they just need confidence. By the next morning, my phone looked like it had been through a hurricane. 32 missed calls, 16 texts, and 3 voicemails, all from Eleanor. She must have woken up, seen the notice to vacate an empty ring box, and gone nuclear. The first voicemail started calm. "Sean, I don't understand what this is. Are you mad about last night? You're being dramatic. Call me back." The second one got shaky. "You can't just kick me out. I have nowhere to go right now. You're being heartless." By the third, she was full meltdown. "I swear, if you don't pick up, I'm coming to Jake's. I know you're there. This isn't fair, Sean. You can't do this to me after everything I gave you." Yeah, the woman who humiliated me in front of 100 people now wanted sympathy. I didn't reply. Not because I was trying to play games, but because there was nothing left to say. She'd made her choice. I'd made mine. I let the phone ring until it finally stopped. By noon, the texts came rolling in. "You can't legally evict me like this. You're overreacting. We just need to talk. You're seriously heartless. After all we've been through? Wow, you really showed your true colors." I stared at the screen for a few seconds, then muted her. Peace. One button, and all that noise vanished. An hour later, I got an email notification. From Eleanor K. Subject line: "Please, let's talk." I didn't even open it. Just hovered my cursor over delete and clicked. Jake was sitting on the couch across from me, eating cereal, watching me go through all this. "She's not taking it well, huh?" "Nope. She always this dramatic? Worse, I said. You just never saw the behind the scenes. He laughed under his breath. Guess I'm getting the director's cut. I leaned back and stared at the ceiling. It's like she thinks crying and guilt are bargaining chips. Jake shrugged. You taught her that they're not. That made me smile a little. The next few days were a blur of random number calls and burner text apps. Every message had the same tone, half manipulation, half desperation. You can't erase me that easy. If you loved me, you'd at least talk. You're cold. You're not the man I thought you were. She was right about that last part. The man she thought I was would have cracked by now, would have gone back to calm her down, explain things, fix the situation like always. But that guy retired. Sometime on day 3, I got another email. This one longer. I skimmed just enough to catch the part where she said she didn't mean it at the wedding, that she was just joking around, that she needed time. Then the classic line, "Can we just talk like adults?" I deleted it without replying, because talking like adults apparently meant she talks. And I sit there feeling guilty. Later that night, while I was scrolling through listings for a new place in case I wanted a place more spacious, something clicked in my head. I started remembering all the moments that should have told me who she really was. The times she'd drag me into jewelry stores just to look. On the nights she'd show me wedding dresses online, asking, "Which one do you like?" The way she'd talk about what our first dance song would be, then act like I was clingy for bringing up marriage. It wasn't about love, it was about control. She liked the idea of me being ready to marry her. It made her feel secure, like she could walk around with emotional power over me. As long as I was dreaming about forever, she could dangle it in front of me and feel wanted without ever committing. That bouquet toss at Kevin's wedding wasn't a coincidence. She fought for it because she liked the image of being the girl who got it. She wanted the attention, not the meaning behind it. And when I actually followed through, she panicked. Because real commitment meant real accountability, and that's something she never wanted. I spent half the night replaying old memories, and they all started making sense in a new light. Every maybe someday was her way of saying never, but keep hoping. Every sweet gesture came with invisible strings attached. Jake came back from work the next evening, saw me reading through apartment ads again, and asked, "You gonna tell her she's officially out?" "She already knows," I said. The silence told her. He grinned. "You really not gonna answer a single one of her messages?" "Nope. Not even for closure?" "Closure's for people who still care what the other person thinks." He raised his cereal bowl like a toast. "Fair point." I laughed, for real this time. It hit me that I wasn't sad. I was just relieved. I didn't need to figure out why she was the way she was. I didn't need to fix anything. All I had to do was walk away and mean it. For the first time, there was no ache, no doubt, no what if, just quiet certainty. I realized I hadn't lost a partner. I'd lost a manipulator. And honestly, that felt like a win. I dodged a bullet. By the time I went to bed, I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't the one who got left behind. I was the one who finally got out. And I wasn't pretending anymore. Not about her, not about us, not about love. A week passed without a word. Or at least, without a word I allowed through. I figured she'd eventually stop after realizing I wasn't biting. I was wrong. It was Thursday afternoon. I was walking to my car after a client meeting, juggling my keys and phone, when I heard someone yelling my name. "Sean!" I turned and there she was. Eleanor, standing near the employee lot entrance, wearing sunglasses too big for her face and an outfit that screamed, "Look what you're missing." For half a second, I thought I was hallucinating. But then she started marching toward me, heels clacking like gunfire. "How did you even find this place?" I asked, more annoyed than surprised. "I looked it up," she snapped. "You've been ignoring me for a week." "Yeah, that was on purpose." Her jaw tightened. "You really think you can just end things like that? You ruined my life, Sean." I let out a low sigh. "Pretty sure your life was doing fine before you decided to humiliate me at a wedding." "Oh my God," she said, rolling her eyes. "You're still stuck on that?" "It was a joke. You completely overreacted." "Right," I said flatly. "A public rejection was just a joke. My bad for not laughing harder." She crossed her arms. "You forced me into that situation. You were trying to trap me with a ring I didn't ask for." "Trap you?" I raised an eyebrow. "No one forced you to date me for 2.5 years, Eleanor. You had plenty of exits. You just didn't take them." She stepped closer, voice getting sharper. "You pressured me. You made me think about marriage when I wasn't ready. Then maybe you shouldn't have spent 2 years showing me wedding dresses and talking about venues," I said. That hit a nerve. She blinked fast, then her tone flipped from defensive to hostile. "You're unbelievable. You just can't admit you're controlling. You need to make me the bad guy so you can feel like a hero. I stayed calm, hands in my pockets. You don't need my help to be the bad guy, Eleanor. You're nailing it solo. Her lips curled. You'll regret this. You'll never find someone like me. I smiled. That's kind of the point. Her face went red. She spun on her heel, muttering something about me being emotionally unstable, and stormed off toward the main road. I thought that was the end of it. The next morning, I got called into HR. The woman from HR looked uncomfortable, like she hated having to even bring it up. Sean, we received a call yesterday from someone claiming to be your ex. She alleged you've been emotionally abusive and controlling. She said she wanted to warn the company in case you acted out here. I almost laughed. You're kidding. I wish I was, she said, giving a sympathetic shrug. Don't worry, we looked into it. It's obviously personal, Lee. But we have to document it. I handed her my phone and showed her the texts, missed calls. The HR rep scrolled for a second, then nodded. Yeah, this isn't your problem. You handled it fine. Just block her and don't engage. I grinned. I will. She smiled back. Good. Also, please tell your ex to stop calling the front desk. It's getting awkward. When I walked out, I wasn't even angry, just impressed. The speed at which she managed to turn into a full-blown PR disaster was honestly remarkable. That evening, as I was microwaving leftovers, my phone buzzed. It was Kevin. Hey, man, he said, voice cautious. So, Eleanor's been talking to everyone? Define everyone. Our friend group. She told them you manipulated her, pressured her into marriage, tried to control her, the usual. I laughed. Classic. Kevin hesitated. I didn't buy it. I told her exactly what I saw at my wedding. You didn't pressure her. You were ready. She embarrassed you. Period. Appreciate it, I said. Yeah, well, it got messy fast. She went off in the group chat, saying everyone's fake, that we never supported her healing. It was wild. So she finally exposed herself, I said. Pretty much. She rage quit the chat after calling everyone traitors. Then she made this dramatic post about being surrounded by toxic energy. I think she deleted it 5 minutes later. Sounds about right, Kevin sighed. I just wanted you to know. Everyone knows the truth now. She's losing it, man. Let her, I said. I stopped managing her reality a long time ago. Kevin chuckled. You're handling this like a monk, dude. More like someone who ran out of patience. After we hung up, I sat back on the couch, scrolled through my phone, and blocked Eleanor's social accounts for good measure. She'd been trying to destroy my name, but she didn't realize she'd already handed me all the proof I'd ever need. Her actions. Before bed, I checked one last time. No new calls, no new emails. Just silence. I smiled and muttered to myself, she tried to destroy my name, but she only ended up proving why I left. And for the first time since that wedding, I felt the peace that comes from watching someone dig their own grave, with a shovel you didn't have to touch. A few quiet weeks went by. Work was good, sleep was better, and my phone had been blissfully silent. I was getting my life back, piece by piece. Then one afternoon, while I was having lunch at my desk, I got a text from Kevin. Dude, you're gonna want to see this. He sent me a link to Eleanor's Instagram. I hesitated for half a second before opening it. Big mistake. The first photo hit like a bad joke. Eleanor in some fancy restaurant, holding hands with a guy I'd never seen before. Caption. When you know heart emoji ring emoji. I actually laughed. Out loud. I scrolled a bit more and saw post after post. All soft filters, long captions about healing, moving on, and finally finding real love. The guy's name was Martin. She'd even changed her bio to Future Mrs. M. All. They'd been together maybe 3 weeks. Tops. Kevin texted again. They're engaged. No joke. She posted the ring video last night. I couldn't help but shake my head. That was fast, I texted back. Kevin replied, yeah. Everyone thinks she's trying to one-up you. It's so obvious it's embarrassing. Embarrassing was an understatement. She was tagging mutual friends, posting couple selfies with captions like, some people come into your life to show you what love isn't, so you're ready for what love is. Translation. Look, Sean, I'm fine without you. Except she didn't look fine. Her smile was too wide, her eyes too empty. The whole thing screamed desperation. A few days later, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a video link from Kevin. You need to see this, he said. It was recorded at what looked like her engagement party. Outdoor venue, string lights, people dressed up. Eleanor in a white dress that was trying to look bridal, standing next to Martin, who was holding a mic. He started giving a speech about how they met, how real love doesn't have to take years, how he just knew. Then, halfway through, he stopped talking. His smile disappeared. Martin turned to Eleanor and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, actually, you know what? I can't do this. When the crowd murmured, Eleanor froze. What are you talking about? She asked, laughing nervously. You're not in this for me, he said. You're in this for the image. For revenge. You think I don't know? Someone gasped. The camera shook a bit. People whispering. Martin kept going. You've been talking about your ex nonstop since we met. Every post, every story. It's all about him. You're not over him, Eleanor. You just wanted to prove a point. Eleanor tried to grab his arm, saying, Martin, don't do this here, please. He stepped back. You used me. And honestly, I feel bad for the guy who came before me. Because he probably got the same act. Then he dropped the mic and walked off. The crowd parted as he left, and Eleanor stood there in tears, begging him not to go. Martin, please, we can talk about this. Nobody moved. Nobody comforted her. The video ended with her crying and people awkwardly clapping as background music kept playing. Kevin texted right after, it's everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, Reddit. Everyone's calling it karma. I checked. He wasn't exaggerating. The clip had gone viral overnight. Thousands of comments roasting her. Girl wanted a fairy tale, got a reality check. That's what happens when your relationship goal is revenge. She really got dumped at her own engagement party. Later that night, I was watching TV when my phone lit up again. Unknown number, I already knew. Sean, her text said, I hope you're happy. You ruined my life. Another one came right after. If you hadn't embarrassed me at that wedding, none of this would have happened. You made me look desperate. You drove me to this. I stared at the screen, smirked, then locked my phone. Jake, sitting across the room, noticed. That her? Yep. What's she saying now? That I ruined her life. Jake laughed. She's doing that fine on her own. I nodded. Yeah, and apparently she's making it public. I leaned back, feeling a strange sense of closure. She'd spent months trying to make me look like the villain, but the truth had a funny way of revealing itself. And I couldn't help thinking, sometimes you don't need revenge. You just need patience. Because people like Eleanor always end up exposing themselves. I honestly thought that viral engagement disaster was going to be the last I ever heard of her. I was wrong. Again. About a week later, she made her big comeback online. I woke up to messages from friends saying, bro, she's at it again. I checked out of curiosity, and there it was. An essay-length post on her new account. She claimed I'd emotionally abused her, that I tried to cage her, and that men like me couldn't handle strong, independent women. It was pure victim theater. She even wrote, he made me believe love meant control. I wasn't allowed to breathe without being watched. I nearly choked on my coffee. The only thing I ever controlled was paying rent on time and remembering her coffee order. The comments, though, those were gold. Girl, weren't you the one dumped at your engagement party? Stop blaming men for your own circus. It got worse for her when someone uploaded the video again, the one of her begging Martin not to leave. Within hours, it was trending with captions like, strong independent woman when reality hits. This didn't age well. She deleted the post, then made another one 2 days later. This time, she went full meltdown, calling everyone who didn't support her healing journey fake, saying she was surrounded by toxic energy, and that men are all the same. I didn't even bother responding. Watching her self-destruct from the sidelines was enough. Then, out of nowhere, I got a message from an unknown number. Hi, Sean. It's Maria, Eleanor's sister. Can we meet? It's not for her. It's for you. I hesitated. Maria and I had only spoken a few times back when Eleanor and I were together. She always struck me as the sane one in the family, though. I agreed to meet her for coffee the next morning. When I arrived, she was already there. Neat, composed, stirring her cup like she'd been rehearsing what to say. Thanks for coming, she said, giving me a polite smile. No problem. I'll admit, I was surprised you reached out. She nodded. Yeah, I would be too, but I figured someone should tell you the truth about my sister. I leaned back. All right, hit me. Maria sighed. Eleanor's always been like this. What she did to you? She's done it before, multiple times. That caught my attention. Before me? Oh, yeah, she said, shaking her head. There was Ryan before you, then Chris, then Alex. Every time things got serious, she'd panic, say they were controlling, or that she wasn't ready. Then she'd break up with them in the most dramatic way possible, block them, post about being free. A few weeks later, she'd start another relationship and repeat the same story. I frowned. So this is like her thing? Her pattern, Maria corrected. She gets bored the second someone starts expecting emotional maturity. And the worst part? Most guys still chase her after she dumps them. She loves that part. She once even told me that sometimes she did it for the reactions. Let me guess, I said, half smiling. I didn't chase and give her a reaction. Maria pointed at me with her coffee stirrer. Exactly. You were the first one who didn't. You walked away without giving her the attention she feeds on. That's why she's losing it now. I let out a short laugh. Figures. I thought I'd broken her heart. Turns out I just broke her ego. Maria gave a sad smile. Pretty much. Eleanor doesn't process rejection well. Our parents tried to get her therapy years ago, but she refuses. Says she doesn't need it. That everyone else is just too sensitive or too boring for her. I shook my head. That tracks. She blames everyone else for her own messes, Maria continued. After that engagement video went viral, she didn't even cry about Martin. She cried about how people were turning against her. She's obsessed with how she looks to others, not how she actually treats people. She posted about me again last week, I said. Maria groaned. Yeah, I saw. She's embarrassing herself. Even my parents told her to stop, but she's convinced that if she spins the story long enough, people will believe her version. Does she know you're here talking to me? I asked. Maria smiled faintly. No, she'd lose it if she knew, but someone had to tell you. You didn't lose someone special. You dodged a lifelong storm. I stared into my coffee for a moment, thinking about everything she'd said. I'll be honest, I said. For a while I wondered if I overreacted, if I should have given her another chance. But hearing this, I think I just got lucky. You did, Maria said quietly. Most guys don't. They keep trying to fix her until she drains them dry. She stood up. Anyway, I should go. I just wanted to say, don't let her guilt you. You did the right thing. I nodded. Thanks for telling me, Maria. Really, she smiled. Take care of yourself, Sean. And for what it's worth, you were too good for her. After she left, I sat there for a few minutes, just processing. For years, I thought Eleanor's behavior came from some misunderstanding between us. Turns out it was never about us. It was just her. Everything finally clicked. The bouquet comment, the fake apologies, the quick engagement, the meltdown. It wasn't random. It was her default setting. I pulled out my phone and, even logged out, her profile was bare. I couldn't help but chuckle. She was out there spinning another version of her story, trying to make herself the victim. But I didn't feel angry anymore. Just detached. Free. I'd sold the ring months earlier. Got a fair price, but honestly, the relief felt worth more than the cash. I paid for my coffee, walked outside, and felt lighter than I had in months. Because now I knew the truth. I wasn't the first guy she pushed away. I was just the first one who didn't crawl back. And that's what really broke her. A year passed. Life had gone from chaos to calm. A kind of peace I didn't think I'd ever get again. I'd moved to a quieter side of the town, moved to a bigger place, and most importantly, changed the kind of person I let into my life. Her name was Miranda. She taught second grade at the elementary school near my office. She was warm, funny, low drama. Everything Eleanor wasn't. She didn't need attention. She needed peace, just like me. We'd been dating for 6 months, and for the first time in years, I actually felt steady. It was a Saturday afternoon. There was a knock on the door. 3 sharp knocks, fast and impatient. Miranda called out, "You expecting someone?" "Nope," I said, wiping my hands and walking to the door. I opened it and froze. Eleanor stood there, wearing a white wedding dress. Not the fancy kind either. This thing looked like it came from the clearance rack of a costume shop. Lace that didn't match, glitter peeling off, and a wrinkled skirt like she'd slept in it. She was holding a bouquet of wilted flowers, half brown, half dead, and she was smiling. Wide. Too wide. I'd moved across town a year ago, kept a low profile, barely posted online. No idea how she got it. Probably public records or a tag in a friend's story. "I do," she said softly. I blinked. "You... what?" I said I do. She stepped closer, clutching the bouquet tighter. "I accept you as my husband. I've been planning this for months." My brain short-circuited for a second. "Eleanor, what the hell are you doing here?" She tilted her head, eyes glossy. "Don't act shy, Sean. I forgive you. I know I got scared, but it's okay. I'm ready now." "Ready for what?" I asked, half laughing, half terrified. "For us," she said like it was obvious. "For our wedding. I found a venue. Well, 2 actually, but one's fully booked, so we'll have to pick the other. It's perfect. They even have a gazebo. We can do pastel flowers. Maybe lavender." She started talking faster, pacing my porch like she was genuinely organizing a ceremony. I stood there, speechless. "Eleanor?" I interrupted, trying to stay calm. "You need to leave." "I can't leave. Not now." she said, her voice cracking. You're my fiancé, Sean. We're supposed to be together. Don't ruin it. Ruin it, I asked. And that's when Miranda came out of the bedroom, her hair in a loose bun, wearing one of my old shirts. Who's that? Miranda asked, confused. Eleanor's eyes snapped toward her like a switch flipped. Her smile vanished. Who is she? Before I could answer, Eleanor dropped the bouquet and pointed at Miranda. You're trying to steal my man, you homewrecker. Miranda froze. What is she talking about? Back off! Eleanor screamed, lunging forward and grabbing the wilted bouquet off the ground. She started swinging it at Miranda like it was a weapon, petals and dead stems flying everywhere. He's mine! Sean, you're married to me. She's the other woman. I stepped between them immediately, holding Eleanor back. Hey! Enough! You need to stop! She shoved against me, screaming nonsense. You promised me forever! You were supposed to wait for me. I picked the dress. I said yes. Eleanor, you need to leave now, I said firmly. You're not well. Miranda had backed up against the wall, eyes wide, holding her arm where a flower stem had scratched her. I pulled my phone from my pocket and dialed 911. Eleanor saw me do it and started crying hysterically. You're calling the police on your own wife! She yelled, slapping at my arm. You're not my wife, I said flatly. When the dispatcher picked up, I calmly said, yes, I need officers at my address. My ex-girlfriend just showed up uninvited and is having some kind of breakdown. Eleanor screamed, don't you dare lie to them. Tell them we're getting married. I ignored her and gave my information. Within minutes, I heard sirens in the distance. Eleanor froze. You need help, I said. When the cops arrived, she immediately tried to plead her case. Officers, he's my fiancé. We were supposed to get married. She pointed at Miranda. She's trying to ruin our wedding. The officers exchanged looks that said everything. One of them spoke gently. Ma'am, we're going to have to ask you to come with us. I'm not going anywhere. We're supposed to say our vows. The officer took her by the arm, guiding her down the steps while she kept shouting, Sean, please, don't let them take me. I love you. We can still fix this. Her voice echoed down the street until the car door closed. Miranda and I stood in silence for a moment, the sound of the police car fading away. The front porch was covered in broken petals and torn fabric from her cheap dress. Miranda finally exhaled. So, that was your ex? Yeah, I said, rubbing the back of my neck. Sorry about the bouquet assault. I didn't think she'd show up wearing a wedding dress. Miranda let out a nervous laugh. You weren't kidding when you said she was dramatic. Yeah, I said. She's been performing her own soap opera for years. I just finally stopped watching. We cleaned up the porch together. Later that night, after the adrenaline wore off, we sat on the couch eating takeout. Miranda laughed again, shaking her head. You realize that's the kind of story no one's ever going to believe, right? Oh, I believe it, I said. She always wanted a wedding scene. She just forgot you need two willing people for one. Miranda smiled. You okay? Better than ever, I said honestly. Because standing there earlier, watching Eleanor get escorted away in her fake wedding dress, I didn't feel anger or pity. I felt peace. It was the final chapter of a story I never wanted to be in, closing itself without me lifting a finger. The empty ring box I left on that kitchen counter wasn't about heartbreak. It was freedom. The moment I decided I'd never settle for being someone's placeholder again. And as I sat there, hand in hand with a woman who actually knew what love meant, I realized something simple but powerful. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's living a life they'll never be part of. And I got mine. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.